my dears, how are you today? In this video, I'm going to explain how to use these tenses in Brazilian Portuguese. And this can be confusing because we don't have present perfect in Portuguese. So this is something that is confusing even for Brazilians who are learning English, because it's like, what is the present perfect? It's something so difficult for Brazilians. Brazilians, they get like terrified when they see present perfect, because it's like, what is this tense? It doesn't make sense in Portuguese because we don't have it. So I understand that it can be confusing for you who are learning Portuguese as well, because you know how to use it, how to express the idea of the present perfect and the present perfect continuous in Brazilian Portuguese. But your problems are over because I'm here. Yay! I've been researching a lot, as I always do when I make a video for you, because I like to give you as many examples as possible, and I like to show you different situations, different contexts, and that's what I'm gonna do in this video. So watch until the end, and even if you don't understand, you know, you can leave a comment and I will try to explain you the best possible way. Okay? Let's get started. Let's learn how to use the present perfect and the present perfect continuous in Brazilian Portuguese. My name is Andressa Maia and this is Falando Nisso. Okay, let's start with the easiest, which is the present perfect continuous. It is the easiest because it has a very good equivalent in Portuguese, which is pretérito perfeito composto. They express exactly the same idea, but the structure is different. So if you try to translate present perfect continuous like word by word to Portuguese, it won't work, okay? Because we don't use gerund to express this in this tense. The structure is the verb ter as an auxiliary in the present tense. So I have, you have, he, she, it, has, we have. They have will be eu tenho, você, ele, ela tem. Nós temos, vocês, eles, elas têm. The pronunciation is the same. The only difference is the circumflex accent that it's used for plural, okay? So we have the verb ter as an auxiliary in the present tense, and we have the main verb in the participle. The participle in Portuguese is if the verb belongs to the first conjugation, so if it ends in a, the participle will end in ado. Falar becomes falado, cantar becomes cantado, dançar becomes dançado, okay? And verbs ending in e or I, so verbs of the second and third conjugation, the participle will end with ido. So, comer becomes comido, beber becomes bebido, assistir becomes assistido, okay? Regular verbs. But this is the structure of pretérito perfeito composto. And what do you need to have in mind? This tense in Portuguese gives the idea of repetition. Repetition, don't forget this. And not only repetition, but also something that is recent, something that has been happening lately, okay? So, pretérito perfeito composto is about a recent repetition. This is the main idea of this tense. So if you want to say, I am tired because I have been working a lot these days. Eu estou cansada porque eu tenho trabalhado muito esses dias, ok? We have been talking. Nós temos conversado. He has been eating a lot lately. Ele tem comido muito ultimamente. Okay? So actually this is simple. If your sentence in English is in the present perfect continuous, you can use pretérito perfeito composto to express the same idea. And it is often together with words like ultimamente, lately, these days, esses dias. So like words or expressions that give an idea of repetition and something that has been happening lately. So a recent repetition, as I said. Okay, now what about the present perfect? Let's see it. So as I said, we don't have one tense in Portuguese to express the same idea that the present perfect express in English, so we have to choose a different tense depending on the context, depending on the sentence, the situation in English. So we will use presente, we will use the simple present in Portuguese if the sentence in English use for or since. For example, he has worked in this company for 5 years. Em português, it would be ele trabalha nessa empresa há 5 anos ou faz 5 anos. Both are correct, but a is more a bit more formal. I would say that it's better to use a if you are writing, okay? But if you are just speaking, you can use faz, no problem. So he has worked in this company for 5 years. Ele trabalha nessa empresa há 5 anos. Or they have been there for months. Eles estão lá há meses, okay? Also, if the sentence is with since, I have studied in the same school since I was 10 years old. Eu estudo na mesma escola desde os 10 anos de idade, ok? I have studied in the same school since I was 10 years old. Eu estudo, present, na mesma escola desde os 10 anos de idade. Or, we haven't talked since last year. Nós não conversamos desde o ano passado, okay? So in this case, you will use the verb in the present. And I've written this here just to let you know something. Usually in Portuguese, if you use for to talk about a duration, to talk about an amount of time, you would use por, which is okay, it's correct, but por gives the idea of something that is over, that's something that's finished. So you cannot say, for example, the first sentence, he has worked in this company for 5 years. You cannot say, ele trabalha nesta empresa por 5 anos. This sounds really wrong and weird. You could say, ele trabalhou nessa empresa por 5 anos. But the meaning is, he worked in this company for 5 years. So he doesn't work anymore. But if the idea is he has worked, it means he still works, so you have to use faz or a. When you use por, then you have to use the verb in the past, because the idea of por is like something that it's over, okay? Do you understand the difference? Okay, I hope so. Then we can use pretérito perfeito if the idea of our sentence is to express a finished action. For example, I have watched 3 movies this week. Eu assisti pretérito perfeito, ok? 3 filmes essa semana. Eu assisti a 3 filmes essa semana. He has read 2 books this month. Ele leu 2 livros esse mês. We have traveled together many times. Nós viajamos juntos muitas vezes. Okay? So if it's a finished action, then in Portuguese you will use pretérito perfeito. You have to conjugate the verb in the past. Pretérito perfeito, okay? Also, if the sentence use words like always, never, ever, yet, it also will be expressed using pretérito perfeito in Portuguese. For example, she has always liked books. Ela sempre gostou de livros, ok? I have never seen this animal. Eu nunca vi esse animal. Have you ever eaten this food? Você já comeu essa comida, ok? Or I haven't finished my homework yet. Eu ainda não terminei meu trabalho de casa. Ok? So depending on the situation, you need to choose the correct conjugation for the verb to express the idea of the present perfect. Okay? There are some special situations, like, exceptions, they are always there, that I want to show you now. Okay, so now I want to talk about some special situations, starting with the verb to be. Let's use this sentence as an example. I have been tired, okay? You already know that if the sentence is in the present perfect, like this sentence, you would have to choose between presente or pretérito perfeito to express the idea, depending on the situation. And you also know that you would use pretérito perfeito composto if the idea of the sentence is to express a recent repetition, right? As it is expressed in the present perfect continuous. And here we have a problem because you don't say in English, I have been being tired. I have been being, it doesn't exist. But actually, this is exactly the idea that the sentence expresses. I have been tired. So the idea is that being tired is something that have been happening often lately. So this is a sentence in the present continuous. This is a sentence in the present perfect that expresses the idea of a sentence in the present perfect continuous. So every time you have a sentence like this, I have been, and an adjective, tired, happy, sad, whatever, it will be expressed in Portuguese using pretérito perfeito composto. So I have been tired will be eu tenho estado cansada. I have been so happy these days. Eu tenho estado tão feliz esses dias. I have been sad lately. Eu tenho estado triste ultimamente. Okay? So this is kind of an exception. Then I put here the verb to leave. The verb to leave, for me, it's an experience and as in.
An experience and as in.
Oh my god, the verb to leave is a special verb when we are talking about present perfect and present perfect continuous, because you can say I have lived in Brazil for 10 years, but you could also say I have been living in Brazil for 10 years, right? And you remember when you use the present perfect and you use for or since, the translation will be using presente. So I have worked in this company for 5 years. Eu trabalho nessa empresa há 5 anos. But if you say, I have been working in this company for 5 years, present perfect continuous, You can translate using pretérito perfeito composto. So, I have been working in this company. Eu tenho trabalhado nessa empresa há 5 anos. This is okay. But the same sentence using the verb to live would sound weird if you translate as eu tenho morado. So, I have lived in Brazil. Eu moro no Brasil. I have been living in Brazil. Eu moro no Brasil. That's what I want to tell you. It sounds weird. Like, it's not wrong, okay? But it's really not natural saying eu tenho morado no Brasil. It sounds so... What? It really sounds weird. So, even if you use the present perfect continuous to talk about where you have been living, you will translate it into Portuguese using presente, okay? So, where have you been living? Onde você mora? Okay, it sounds better. It would sound very weird, like onde você tem morado. Really weird, okay? Not wrong, just not natural, okay? I also put here just, it's actually not a special situation. I just wanted to tell you that when you say in English like, I have just arrived home, this just to express this idea of something that like has just happened, you know, we use acabar, acabado, acabei, acabou. For example, I have just arrived at home. Eu acabei de chegar em casa. Okay? And in this case, pay attention. I have just arrived home. The main verb is arrive. But when you translate into Portuguese, because you use acabar in the past, in pretérito perfeito, the main verb arrive goes to infinitive. I have just arrived. Eu acabei de chegar. But I have arrived would be eu cheguei. Okay, do you understand? Let me think about another example. I have just left work. Eu acabei de sair do trabalho, okay? So when you use just, it in Portuguese will be like acabei, if it's I, obviously. If it's he has just left. Ele acabou de sair. We have just arrived. Nós acabamos de chegar. So you just have to pay attention that when you use just, you will conjugate acabar and the main verb will be in the infinitive. Okay? Is it clear? I hope so. Now finally, I put here gerúndio, you know, gerund in Portuguese, because in some situations, when you use the present perfect continuous in English, in Portuguese, instead of using pretérito perfeito composto, you can use gerúndio because it will sound better. For example, if I say, I have been cleaning my house every day this week. So it's a recent repetition. So, eu tenho limpado minha casa todo dia essa semana. But if I say, I have been cleaning the house all day. So it's something that I'm doing like just today, but during the whole day. It would sound weird if I say, eu tenho limpado a casa o dia todo. It would sound weird because it's not a repetition. Okay? You understand? So, the best way to say it would be, eu estou limpando a casa o dia todo. I have been cleaning the house the whole day. So, I'm still cleaning. Eu estou limpando a casa o dia todo. Or, for example, I have been waiting for you since 10 a.m. I have been waiting for you since 10 a.m. Eu estou te esperando desde as 10 da manhã. So it's not a repetition. It's something that, you know, it's happening today since early and it's still happening because I'm still here waiting for you. Where are you? So, eu estou te esperando desde as 10 da manhã. And this is interesting because this fits to the verb to live. So if you want to say, I have been living in Brazil, you can say eu moro no Brasil or estou morando no Brasil. It sounds good, better than tenho morado, okay? So, where have you been living? Onde você está morando? Gerúndio. Okay, could you understand? I hope so. I think it's a lot of information, but you can, go back and watch the whole video again. Try to take notes of the sentence. And, well, if you have doubts, you can leave a comment. If I forgot to explain something, tell me in the comments, and maybe I can do another video explaining better with more details, or I will at least answer your comment and try to explain your doubt. Okay? Thanks for watching, and I see you in the next video. Bye bye.